The tunnel shook violently. Concrete cracked, pipes burst, and chaos erupted. Ethan grabbed Anna, pulling her toward the maintenance ladder. Catherine fired at the guards, forcing them back. Richard's roar echoed like thunder as he fought to regain control. "Go!" Catherine shouted, shoving Ethan the flash drive. "If anyone survives, it has to be the truth." They climbed as debris rained down. Anna looked back one last time, tears blurring her vision. Her sister stood defiant, weapon raised, her silhouette swallowed by dust and falling stone. Richard's furious scream was the last sound before the tunnel collapsed completely. Above ground, dawn was breaking. Ethan and Anna emerged coughing, filthy, but alive. The flash drive gleamed in Ethan's trembling hand. Weeks later, headlines rocked the nation. Sterling Empire exposed. Offshore accounts frozen, political puppets disgraced, businesses seized. The mighty dynasty crumbled in public view. But in a quiet corner of New York, a modest foundation opened its doors, the Sterling Trust for Integrity and Justice. Anna oversaw it, channeling the family fortune that survived into rebuilding what her father had destroyed. Ethan stood beside her, no longer just a journalist, but a partner in something larger than either of them. Anna whispered, "Our family's empire is gone. But maybe this is the legacy worth leaving." Final hook. Outside the foundation, a sleek car watched from the shadows. Inside, a familiar smirk, Michael Sterling, alive and waiting. The gunshot echoed, and one of Richard's guards fell. Everyone froze. From the shadows, Catherine Sterling emerged, pistol steady in her hand. "Enough," she said coldly. Her eyes met Richard's. "Father, you taught me strategy." "Strategy isn't brute force. It's knowing when to cut your losses." Richard's face twisted with fury. "You dare point a gun at me?" Catherine's jaw tightened. "I dare because you've forgotten what makes us strong. Not fear. Not money. Control. And you're losing it." Ethan and Anna exchanged stunned looks. Catherine approached slowly, her gun never wavering. "Give me the drive," she ordered Ethan. Ethan hesitated. "Why should I trust you?" "Because unlike him," she said, nodding at Richard, "I don't need you dead. I need the Empire intact." Richard scoffed. "She'll bury you just as I would, only slower." Anna stepped forward, voice trembling but firm. "Catherine, if you want control, prove it. Don't destroy the truth, expose it. Use it to rebuild something better." Catherine's eyes flickered. For the first time, doubt cracked her icy mask. She lowered her gun slightly, torn between ambition and conscience. Richard roared, lunging for her. Catherine spun, firing a warning shot into the ceiling. Dust rained down. The tunnel was suffocatingly silent until Richard's voice cut through the dark. He stepped forward, his suit immaculate despite the grime around him. His presence radiated authority, the kind that bent senators and CEOs alike. "Anna," he said, his tone sharp as glass. "Step away from him." Anna's body trembled. "Father!" "No!" Richard barked, his eyes flicking to Ethan, who clutched the flash drive. "That man is using you. Just as David used me decades ago." Ethan raised his chin. "No. She sees what you've done. The world will see." Richard chuckled, a low, humorless sound. "The world doesn't want truth, boy. It wants comfort. And we give it to them." He extended his hand to Anna. "Come back to your family. This is your last chance." Anna's heart twisted. Memories of childhood lullabies, family dinners, her father's hand on her shoulder, all colliding with images of bribes, blood, and betrayal. She looked at Ethan, then at Richard. "I won't go back," she whispered. Richard's expression hardened. He snapped his fingers. Armed guards emerged from the shadows, rifles gleaming under the tunnel lights. Ethan shielded Anna, clutching the flash drive like a lifeline. Richard's voice echoed. "You chose your side. Now you'll pay for it." The shot rang out before Anna could scream. David stumbled but grabbed Ethan's arm. "Run!" he rasped. Bullets shattered concrete as Ethan dragged Anna behind a pillar. Security teams poured into the station, guns blazing. Panic surged through Ethan. He was no soldier, just a reporter, but survival roared louder than fear. David, bleeding but defiant, pulled a hidden revolver and fired back, covering their escape. "Take the drive!" he shouted, tossing the flash drive toward Ethan. It skidded across the floor, sparks flying. Ethan dove, clutching it tight. Anna pulled at Ethan's sleeve, tears streaking her face. "We can't leave him!" David's voice boomed through the chaos. "If you stay, you die with me. If you leave, maybe the truth lives." Ethan's chest burned with conflict, but the gunfire forced their choice. They scrambled through a maintenance tunnel, David's last shouts echoing behind them. As silence fell, Anna collapsed against the wall, sobbing. "He saved us." Ethan held the flash drive like it was fire. "Then we can't waste his sacrifice." They followed David through the maze of tunnels until they emerged in an abandoned subway station. Dust coated the broken benches, and faded posters clung to the walls like ghosts of the past. David lit a lantern. "Your father and I built Sterling Industries on 3 pillars: money, politics, and fear. We bought senators, crushed rivals, and silenced anyone who stood in our way. But Richard wanted it all. He exiled me, erased me, and told the world I was gone." Anna's heart ached. "And you let him?" David's laugh was bitter. "Power doesn't disappear, Anna. It waits. And now you and this journalist may be the key to finishing what I couldn't." Ethan studied him carefully. "Why help us? You could use this truth for yourself." David's eyes hardened. "Because I don't want the Empire back. I want it destroyed." Anna felt her world tilt. She had spent her life defending the family name, only to discover it was built on betrayal. Before she could speak, her phone buzzed. A single message from Catherine. "Come back before it's too late." The tunnel reeked of rust and sewage. Ethan raised the flickering flashlight, revealing a tall man in a damp coat leaning against the wall. His face was half hidden, but his eyes glowed with familiarity. "You're far from home, Anna," he said softly. Anna's blood ran cold. "Uncle David." Ethan blinked. "Uncle?" David Sterling, Richard's estranged brother, had vanished from the public eye 20 years ago after a bitter power struggle. The family told the world he was dead. Yet here he stood, alive, gaunt, but dangerous. "I warned your father long ago that greed would eat this family alive," David continued. His gaze flicked to Ethan. "And now he drags strangers into our curse." Anna's voice trembled. "Why are you here?" David stepped closer, his expression unreadable. "Because the empire your father built rests on a foundation of lies. Lies I helped create. And it's finally collapsing." He dropped a flash drive into Ethan's hand. "The truth is all here. But if Richard learns you have it, either of you will live to see the sunrise." The motel door splintered as Sterling's security stormed in. Ethan shoved the file into a backpack and pulled Anna through the bathroom window. They scrambled into the alley, rain soaking their clothes. Flashlights cut through the darkness as men shouted behind them. Anna stumbled, twisting her ankle. Ethan hoisted her up, carrying her through puddles until they slipped into a drainage tunnel. The stench was suffocating, but it was safety, for now. Breathing hard, Anna whispered, "Why are you risking everything for me?" Ethan met her eyes. "Because if I don't, your family wins. And people like me will always lose." Anna's chest tightened. For the first time, she believed she had chosen the right side. Above them, Michael raged at his men. "Find them! Before father learns we failed." Back at Sterling Tower, Richard listened to Michael's accusation in silence. Finally, he spoke. "If Anna chooses to betray us, she chooses her fate." Catherine frowned. "Families should be protected, not discarded." Richard's glare cut through her. "Weakness destroys dynasties. Remember that." Meanwhile, Anna and Ethan hid in a motel on the outskirts of the city. Anna stared at the ceiling. "He'll never forgive me now." Ethan leaned closer. Maybe forgiveness isn't what you need. Maybe it's freedom. Anna turned to him, torn between fear and hope. No one had ever spoken to her like that. She reached for the file, scanning pages of bribery, blackmail, and secret bank accounts. For the first time, she saw her family empire for what it was, a cage built on gold. Michael stepped into the library, his shoes echoing on the marble floor. Anna froze, clutching the file behind her. Well, Michael drawled. Father will be thrilled to hear his perfect daughter sneaks around with journalists. Ethan stood between them. She's not like you. She wants the truth. Michael laughed coldly. Truth doesn't pay bills. Power does. He reached for Anna's arm, but she pulled away. I'm not your pawn, she hissed. Michael's smile vanished. Then you're a liability. Ethan grabbed Anna's hand and bolted toward the back exit. Bullets cracked against the shelves as Michael's men fired. Books rained down like broken wings. They escaped into the night, lungs burning. For the first time, Anna wasn't sure if she feared Michael more than her father. Anna arrived at a quiet library after hours, where Ethan waited in the dim light between shelves. He looked startled to see her. You came, he whispered. I shouldn't have, Anna replied. If my father finds out. Ethan placed the damp file on the table. Then help me prove what's inside. You know it's true. Anna hesitated. She had grown up inside the Empire's walls, believing it was protection, not corruption. But Ethan's intensity shook her certainty. Why me? She asked softly. Because you're not like them, Ethan said. You looked at me differently that night. For a long moment, silence stretched. Finally, Anna slid the file back. I'll read it. But if you're lying, I'll bury you. Ethan exhaled. Fair enough. As Anna left, headlights swept across the library windows. Ethan's chest tightened. Someone had followed her. Back at Sterling Tower, Richard's anger filled the room. Bullets in public? Do you want the city on our necks? He barked at Michael. Michael smirked. The journalist needed a lesson. Fear keeps people quiet. Catherine slammed her notebook shut. Fear also leaves witnesses. We can't afford sloppiness. Anna said nothing, sipping her wine, but her mind replayed the image of Ethan's terrified face. Unlike her siblings, she saw desperation, not danger. Richard stood, his voice low and dangerous. The empire we built feeds this country. Without us, banks collapse, campaigns fail, cities fall. No boy with a pen will undo that. Handle him, but cleanly. The siblings nodded, each plotting their own method. For Richard, family unity was power. For Catherine, strategy was survival. For Michael, domination was instinct. But for Anna, it was doubt. That night, she opened her laptop and searched Ethan Cross. She found his old articles. Stories about corruption, injustice, the forgotten voices of America. Something stirred in her. The cafe erupted in screams as chairs toppled. Ethan crawled behind a counter, clutching the file. Claire pulled him toward the back exit. Move! She hissed. They burst into the alley, rain pouring like needles. A black car screeched around the corner. Claire shoved Ethan behind a dumpster and pulled a small pistol from her coat. Who are they? Ethan gasped. Sterling's security, she said bitterly. Once I worked for them. Now I'm a liability. The car door opened. Two men in suits stepped out, guns gleaming under the streetlight. Claire fired, forcing them back, but Ethan knew they couldn't hold out long. Suddenly, a siren wailed nearby. The gunman cursed, jumped into the car, and sped off. Ethan's pulse hammered. Claire grabbed his collar. Now you see how far they'll go. But this is nothing. The deeper you dig, the darker it gets. Ethan looked down at the file, soaked but intact. Then we dig deeper. Ethan waited nervously at a quiet cafe in Brooklyn. Rain tapped against the windows. At exactly 9 p.m., a woman walked in, trench coat, sunglasses, and a file tucked under her arm. She sat across from him. Call me Claire, she whispered. I worked for the Sterlings. What you found, it's just the surface. Ethan leaned forward. Then tell me the truth. Claire slid the file across. Inside were photos of meetings with senators, CEOs, even foreign officials. Notes described bribes disguised as donations, threats hidden as negotiations. They don't just make money, she said. They own the game. Ethan's heart pounded. This was the story of a lifetime, but also a death sentence if he got caught. Claire's eyes darted to the window. A man in a suit stood across the street, watching. She grabbed Ethan's hand. If you want to survive, you need to move fast. They already know about me. The window lowered, revealing Michael Sterling's flawless smile. Mr. Cross, he said, voice smooth as silk. Digging in the dark can get you lost. Ethan froze. He had expected silence, not confrontation. Michael continued. My father appreciates curiosity. But too much of it. He tapped his watch. Dangerous for your health. The SUV rolled away, leaving Ethan trembling. It wasn't a threat, it was a promise. Inside Sterling Tower, Richard received the report. He's young, Catherine noted. We can discredit him. Richard's eyes narrowed. Or we can use him. Sometimes enemies reveal more than friends. Anna sat quietly, studying the city lights. Unlike her siblings, she felt unease. She knew the family's reach was endless, but something about Ethan's determination stirred guilt. Later that night, Ethan uploaded files to a hidden drive. Bank transfers, offshore accounts, even whispers of political manipulation. He wasn't sure how much longer he had, but he wasn't stopping now. In the heart of New York City stood the Sterling Tower, glass, steel, and power. To outsiders, the Sterling family were philanthropists, celebrated for their charities and investments. But inside the top floors of the tower, decisions were made that shaped industries, swayed elections, and silenced rivals. At the head was Richard Sterling, the patriarch. Sharp as a blade, ruthless as a storm. His 3 children each played their part: Catherine, the strategist with a lawyer's mind; Michael, the face of the empire with charm that masked ambition; and Anna, the youngest, whose quiet presence hid secrets even her family didn't know. Reporters adored them. Politicians bowed to them. Ordinary people only saw the polished surface. But Ethan Cross, a young journalist, had begun digging into their empire. He believed the Sterlings weren't just wealthy. They were untouchable because they controlled things no one dared to name. One night, outside the tower, Ethan whispered into his recorder. If I disappear, the world should know the Sterling fortune isn't clean. It's built on shadows,